Hey there, Taurus. Welcome to my channel. My name is Isaac, and we're going to get into a reading for the month of September. Although we're probably going to talk about some more overarching things as well, since this is the first round of videos I've been putting out on this new channel. We'll talk about some of the slower transits and things that have been kind of going on for maybe several years in the past, leading up to now, and then talk a little more about what's going on right now as well. Anyways, let's just jump into this. So, Taurus, I think you've been going through a process over really the last like 7 years or so, where you've been slowly learning to change the way that you present yourself to people, and maybe like letting your kind of weird side out a little bit more, not needing people to um, see you in any certain way. You start showing your more unpredictable and sort of interesting, strange side. Um, because maybe in the past you used to repress that a lot. Maybe a long time ago, again, Uranus is a really slow moving planet. I believe it changes sign every 7 years, I believe. I'd have to look that up again to make sure to remember exactly, but I think it's about 7 years. Um, so maybe 7 years ago or so, you felt the need to keep this kind of stuff hidden. You didn't want people to know that you were into things like astrology or tarot cards or metaphysics or spirituality, meditation, or really just anything that might be considered, unorthodox, weird, kooky. But now you don't really care so much about that anymore, um, because you found that when you present that more honest side of yourself, then you attract people who are attracted to the real you, and those people tend to stick around more, and they tend to be more positive relationships in general. Um, One of the main things I'm noticing as far as like what to watch out for the month, with Lilith here in the sixth house conjunct Venus in the sixth in Libra, there could be a tendency towards overworking, workaholism, maybe, or even just getting so involved in certain daily routines. It doesn't have to be work, but it could be any kind of daily routine where you start to become somewhat obsessive about it. This could be a product of trying to avoid something else, which very likely be coming from Chiron over here, the deepest wound. Chiron is the wounded healer, tends to represent the deepest wound in a person's chart. For Taurus right now, that is in the 12th house, has been for quite a while now in Aries. Um, as I was looking at this chart earlier, I won't go over all the details of how I arrived at this, but it seems like so you guys are really good at recognizing and appreciating positive qualities in other people. You really value intelligence for example, but you're not really worried about people seeing you as intelligent. You're not worried about appearing as an intelligent person. You are really good at seeing the good qualities in others, and you really can recognize when somebody's smart or really good at something, and you really appreciate that. You'd probably be the kind of person you'd be really good at placing people in certain roles because you're good at recognizing their strengths, but you might not be so good at recognizing your own strengths and finding and understanding or embodying this more like your own individuality, your own personal strengths and skills and talents. You might kind of wonder what is my thing? What am I really good at? I can see what everybody else is good at, and I'm really good at uh, you know knowing which people would work well together and what they would do well together, or what they might be good at. But what am I good at? What do I want to do? And I think it might actually be something like that. It's, you know, the person who is able to kind of step back and look at what's going on in a situation without having to be completely entangled in it and caught up in it and in the middle of it. That's a value in and of itself, because you're able to watch certain situations and certain interactions and get sort of an outside perspective on it, where you're not totally invested in whatever the situation may be. But you might struggle to see that as a strength. You might see that from a negative side and feel like you're just a side character, and you're not really, um, embodying yourself and being a part of the whatever's going on around you. But that's really just you looking at your who you are through a more negative lens, but without recognizing it. And that's kind of what Chiron does here. Chiron being the deepest wound, nearly always has something to do with self-worth on some level. And being in the 12th house, it's like there's just this feeling. This isn't a conscious thought. This is a feeling that seems to be kind of buried in the little nebulous and just kind of affects you from the background. Maybe it's been there for so long that you don't consciously recognize it anymore. It's just become a part of just how you feel. Like if you've had anxiety since you were 5 years old, so just as an example, not saying that that's you, but just as an example, if you've had anxiety since you're like 5 years old, well, by the time you're 30, anxiety is going to feel normal, and you're not even going to realize that you're anxious anymore because it's just been there forever. That's what feels normal. It's in the background now. That's kind of what's going on here with this 12th house stuff. Is that this there's an underlying sort of hidden tendency to see yourself as less valuable than as the people around you who seem to be embodying these kind of admirable traits, maybe artists or musicians or people who are just really smart and intelligent or eloquent or whatever. Like you see all these good qualities in them, but then think that you don't have them in yourself. But the fact that you're able to recognize those things in other people means that you have those things in yourself too, and that you're just projecting those good qualities onto other people because you struggle to accept them within yourself because maybe you worry that you don't deserve to have that sort of feeling of recognition, of self recognition, even. And so the North Node here in Aries, also in the 12th house, this is, you're kind of being driven by the universe because that's what the North Node really is kind of the direction the universe is kind of pushing things in. Um, it's like you're kind of working through this stuff that we've been talking about without even realizing it. It's kind of the universe is automatically kind of pushing you along and working and causing you to work through these things unconsciously without even realizing it. But that doesn't mean that you can't bring it into your conscious mind and work on it directly as well. Also, now with this new moon happening here in your fifth house in Virgo, I think you might be finding a certain sense of like just enjoyment, like fun. Starting a new chapter of fun, finding things that you enjoy that you like to do just for fun, um, and that could manifest in a million different ways. I don't want to get too specific on that, but it may be that you start getting interested in something or become interested in something again that you were already interested in, but maybe lost interest in the past. That could slowly over time lead to like some kind of financial growth and maybe even bleed into your career environment at some point. But it's not something you need to push. It's not something you need to make happen. It's something that'll happen naturally if you just do what you enjoy. Just stick with without attachment to outcomes. In fact, maybe I shouldn't even have just told you that you could possibly make money off of this, whatever it is. But it's just like a hobby, the thing that you enjoy doing. And I've talked to a lot of people who say they don't know what that is. They don't know what their thing is. And I feel like that might be the case with Taurus right now. You say you don't know, or you think you don't know what your passion is, the thing that your hobby, the thing you like to do for fun, just for its own sake, with no attachment to outcomes. Chances are there's something you used to do a long time ago when you were young, like a kid, and you stopped doing it because someone along the way convinced you that it wasn't worthwhile, that it wasn't practical, it wasn't going to get you anywhere. Oh, you can't make money doing that, or you'll never, those sorts of things that our parents' generation, or the older, especially the older generations, like to say. They like to, they would tend to discourage a lot of times, not everybody, but would discourage, creativity and art and music and things that we just enjoy having and doing as humans because it's not practical, because it's not going to pay the bills. Um, so try to think, if you don't know what your hobby or passion really is, try to look to your past and see what it was that you liked to do when you were a kid, and maybe give it a try. Start playing around with it again. See if you can do that without attaching too much to outcomes and needing things to have a material effect on things. Um, because it's supposed to just be for fun. And then when you do that, it just happens to automatically have an actual material effect on your life. But it happens passively. It's not because you're trying to make it happen. The more you try to make it happen, the the more you feel driven by that sort of sense of lacking in yourself. Um, so yeah, it seems like really this month, and the previous maybe even years leading up to this month have been really a lot about learning to see the positive qualities in yourself that you see in others, while also, and that might also lead you to starting to do things for fun that you enjoy, where you start embodying these qualities, and then you find that there's a hobby or a thing that you can take action on that requires these the qualities that you admire in others, but you can project. Yeah, I think you get what I'm trying to say. This is getting a little complicated. I feel like I'm talking in circles here, but hopefully you get what I'm trying to say. Um, so really, a lot of it is going to have to do with just being quiet with yourself and trying to feel what you feel and trying to kind of figure out and draw circles around why you feel what you feel. Because we have, with Saturn in retrograde in your 12th house in Pisces, this can be representative of a process where you feel a little bit lost in your own emotions, and that can feel scary and make you kind of want to run away from that by, in this case, maybe by trying to focus too much on work. But instead of doing that, the universe is kind of pushing you towards sitting with that feeling of unease and restlessness, and trying to really understand why you feel why you feel what you feel. Maybe even uncovering certain unconscious traumas. Maybe why is it that you stopped doing the things that you love to do? Uh, and as you continue on with this process of really learning to value yourself and see the good in yourself, you see these positive qualities in yourself, you may find that slowly but surely your desire for like what you want to do in your career might start to shift and change to be something a little less, well, I don't know what you might be doing right now, but it'll be something that's not quite so traditional and straightforward, something that allows a little more wiggle room for creativity and exploration and innovation and that sort of stuff. So, for instance, if you're working as, I don't know, a banker or something, or you're an engineer or something like that, something that's like very rigid and like has very structured rules and there's not much room for messing around outside of the box, you might get kind of tired of that kind of stuff as you begin to re-embody the qualities that maybe you have rejected, the more positive qualities that you have, but maybe have struggled to accept in yourself. Uh, as you begin to embody those more, your interests and your desires may start to change, but it'll be a very slow, gradual process. It very likely won't be just an overnight thing. Anyways, I do offer private readings. I do natal chart readings, tarot card readings, forecasts, that kind of stuff. Just send me an email and we can talk about rates. That's down in the description below. Hit the like and subscribe button if you do like these videos and want to see more of them. And until next time, take care.